Over the weekend, tragedy struck in the state of Minnesota after a deranged white man assassinated two Democratic legislators and their spouses, which of course immediately led to right wingers claiming that, well, look at that leftist violence. Every single time. Never fails. It never fails. Now, the reality, of course, is that this was not a member of the left. The suspected shooter, 57-year-old Vance Luther Boelter, was I believe it was a private security guy who is a Trump supporter tied to right-wing ideology. This is according to family and friends, one of them being roommate David Carlson, saying that, oh yeah, no, this guy, Trump supporter, massively. Yes, the guy loved Trump, staunch Trump voter in 2024. Not only that, but public records show that he was a registered Republican when he lived in Oklahoma. He then, of course, moved to Minnesota, where they don't actually keep track of your political affiliation. So, odds are, not a lefty supporter, not a Bernie Sanders supporter, not an AOC supporter, not an Ilhan Omar supporter for sure. Okay, no, Trump supporter. Okay, now, not only that, but you had a 2023 sermon that confirmed his opposition to reproductive rights and LGBTQ rights. Definitely not on the left. Police also found a manifesto listing Democrats and abortion advocates as his next targets. Look, there is no doubt that this man is a far-right lunatic. Simple as that. Now, that said, 2-day manhunt, okay, after what he did on Saturday, and, oh, would you look at that? Police actually managed to take this man into custody. Whoa! Authorities located the vehicle that he'd been using, abandoned on Sunday, and a police officer reported that he believed that he saw Boelter bolting into the woods. All right. About 20 different tactical teams conducted a thorough search, and after a few hours, Boelter ended up crawling out to officers in the woods and was handcuffed and taken into custody in a field. And there you go. He was wearing a police-like uniform that apparently so closely resembled an actual law enforcement uniform that most people were not able to tell that he wasn't a real cop. So, I don't know, he was wearing that uniform, impersonating a police officer. Definitely does not sound like a left-winger. Okay? Just saying. Obviously, though, having that uniform and that list of targets and all that stuff shows intent to carry out these attacks against, and not just these are political assassinations of Democrats and abortion providers. Okay, this is domestic terrorism. Period. And of course, there was Governor Tim Walz was also a potential target, along with again Ilhan Omar and others. So that said, you got the right wing, which is saying, "Oh, what a violent Marxist! What are you talking about? Violent Marxist leftist? What? No, y'all are crazy." Okay, and of course they're like, "Oh yeah, well if he wasn't a violent Marxist leftist, then why did Tim Walz appoint him to the government?" Gotcha. Wait a minute. Where's this coming from? Obviously, people like Benny Johnson, the guy who was paid by Russia. All right. Yes, he received money from Russia to do propaganda videos. Just saying. And was the same guy kicked out of BuzzFeed for plagiarism. Not an original thought in that man's head. Apparently all put there by someone else, including the Kremlin. So, yeah, no, this guy out there saying, oh, yeah, leftist, Marxist. And then, of course, Elon Musk, because of obviously Elon Musk is going to say these things. And Senator Mike Lee, who said, this is what happens when Marxists don't get their way. Wait, so they attack their own side? Does that make any sense whatsoever? No, of course not. So now, is it true, though, that Walz had appointed Boelter to the government? Not quite. Here's the reality. Boelter was reappointed, in 2019 to a workforce development advisory board, and one that one of his victims, by the way, Hoffman, served on at the time. Now, the governor, of course, did not know Boelter. A source in his office said and emphasized that these are not appointments to a position in the governor's office or cabinet. Boelter was first appointed to the board back in 2016 by then Governor Mark Dayton. So, just saying. Now, Lee, of course, got a bunch of pushback on his post. Nina Turner wrote, using the strategy to push your own political agenda is disgraceful. People are dead. Not that they care. Even for Mike Lee, said Norman Ornstein, this is beyond disgusting. Disinformation beneath contempt. Brad Palumbo, who's a journalist, a conservative journalist, by the way, saying, what the hell is Mike Lee doing? Has he completely lost it? Probably. Now, another said this. This is the Democratic Party on X, which, by the way, not a bad post, saying it's Father's Day and you're spending your time tweeting out lies about a tragedy to run cover for a right-wing domestic terrorist. Pathetic. Wow, that's a pretty good one from the Democrats. But unfortunately, that's what they're going with now. That is the talking points that have been dispersed from the highest echelons of the right wing for all of their little crappy influencers, or sometimes big crappy influencers, to go and spread around. Oh, a leftist. All the violence, all the political violence is from the left. Really? Reality says otherwise. I know reality and facts are a stubborn thing, which is why they keep trying to get rid of them. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, right-wing extremists actually drove about 90% of the terrorist plots and attacks from January to May of 2020, a trend that has been consistent since 1994. Wow. The GAO and DHS reported that 35% of the 231 domestic terrorism incidents from 2010 to 2021 were racially or ethnically motivated, largely tied to far-right ideologies like white supremacy and anti-government militias. The Anti-Defamation League, which of course is a right-leaning organization that has a right-leaning bias, even they are like, turns out, yeah, most of the violence is all right-wing. They found that right-wing extremists committed 75% of 450 extremist murders from 2008 to 2017, causing the deaths of 338 people, compared to just 4% by left-wing groups. The Global Terrorism Database attributes 35% of the 263 incidents from 2010 to 2017 to right-wing terrorism, outpacing Islamist 14% and left-wing 13% attacks. Those numbers are likely on the low side. Many studies separate ethno-nationalist and religious terrorism, often aligned with right-wing ideologies, into distinct categories. Ethno-nationalist attacks, which are rooted in white supremacist and anti-immigrant beliefs, and religious extremism, like Christian nationalist violence, share conservative ideological underpinnings, but are often excluded from right-wing tallies, skewing the data to downplay the broader far-right footprint. Because, of course, at the end of the day, this guy, whose friends and family said is not only a hardcore Trump supporter, but was also deeply religious and conservative. I mean, he was on video dancing for Jesus, okay, was right-wing, massively right-wing. That's who he is. And look, according to Paul Schrader, who has known Boelter for years, quote, he was right-leaning politically, but never fanatical. From what I saw, just strong beliefs. Okay, yes. Oh, yeah, no, he's not a fanatic. He's just got some really strong beliefs that are violent. Yeah, okay. Look, obviously all of these right-wing influencers are full of crap. Now, does this mean, of course, that every conservative is a violent fanatic? No, nobody's claiming that. There are quite a few that are, okay? And right now, the violence from the right wing is overwhelming. Yet, they're flacks in Congress like Mike Lee, okay? And right-wing media, and by the way, like the CNN and a lot of these, centrist establishment don't want to admit that the danger is in the right wing. They just don't want to. Maybe they're scared. I don't know. Maybe they want access and they don't want to offend the good Republicans. Well, not a lot of them that are good. Not at this point. So, yes, they keep lying about the people that are doing the violence, and it is absolutely incredibly gross. Mike Lee and the rest of these people, Benny Johnson, he's a clown. They're disgusting ghouls, though. They have no place in political office, okay? Or in like being purveyors of information, because they're not giving out information. And they're not only that, but they're excusing political violence from their own side, but not just that. But they're encouraging violence by painting the left as, these violent extremists, they must be dealt with in whatever way possible. Likely, of course, with violence. All they're doing is creating a never-ending, vicious cycle, perpetuating it with, of course, horrible real-world results, as we've seen. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.